A new, different introduction to begin this deeply sensitive conversation. Have you ever wondered, why does love, one of the most beautiful and intense human emotions, sometimes lead to extreme pain? Moments of despair so profound that some people feel they no longer want to exist? Why can a little sadness, a breakup in love, push someone to the brink of life and death, even wanting to end their life along with their beloved? We have heard stories, watched movies, read articles about love tragedies. And perhaps, deep down, we all feel a shiver and wonder. What happened in their minds? Why did it get to that point? This is not an easy topic to talk about. It touches upon the most painful hidden corners of human experience. But precisely because it is difficult, we need to talk about it sincerely and with understanding, so that none of us has to go through that pain alone. And so that we can recognize the signs and help those around us. Especially in the context of the high-pressure life in the U.S., where mental health is an alarming issue. Today, we will together delve into this thorny topic. Why do many people, when slightly sad because of love, seek death or die with their lover? Exploring the underlying reasons behind this heartbreaking phenomenon. And most importantly, how to face pain, seek help, and overcome the darkest moments. Specifically for young and middle-aged people in the U.S. With empathy, science, and hope. Please note, this video discusses sensitive topics including depression and suicidal thoughts. If you or someone you know is experiencing suicidal thoughts or severe emotional distress, please seek help immediately. The U.S. Suicide and Crisis Lifeline number is 988. Someone is always ready to listen to you. Dear friends, talking about the connection between sadness in love and suicidal behavior is extremely important for young and middle-aged people in the U.S. for many reasons. Firstly, these are life stages where people often experience deep emotional relationships and face many pressures from life, career, family, finances. The combination of emotional pain and other stressors can increase the risk of psychological distress. Secondly, in U.S. society, there is a worrying increase in mental health problems, including depression and anxiety, especially among young people and increasingly common in middle age. Emotional sadness can be a trigger or worsen these conditions. Thirdly, despite progress, there is still stigma surrounding mental health issues, making many people hesitant to seek help. Understanding why a seemingly relationship issue, pain can lead to serious consequences helps us break down that stigma and encourage people to seek professional support. Studies from organizations like the National Institute of Mental Health, NIMH, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, consistently show the link between negative life experiences, including relationship problems, and suicide risk, especially when there are underlying mental health risk factors. Education and raising awareness about this issue are essential parts of prevention. So, why can sadness due to love, even just a little, as the question phrasing suggests, lead to such desperate behaviors? The answer is not simple. It involves the complex interaction of psychological, biological, and social factors. We will together explore the underlying reasons. First, the perception of love, which is when love becomes the center defining self and life. For many people, especially young people or those without a strong psychological foundation, love and romantic relationships can become the most important factor, even the only one, defining their self-worth and the meaning of life. When a relationship breaks up or faces problems, they feel like their entire world collapses. Their self becomes worthless. Why is this dangerous? Because when self-worth is entirely dependent on an external relationship, the loss of that relationship is felt as the loss of oneself, leading to feelings of emptiness, despair, and no longer having a reason to exist. Example: a young girl dedicates all her energy, time, and emotions to her first relationship, considering her boyfriend everything. When they break up, she feels completely lost, thinking she is not good enough. No one will ever love her. Work, family. Emotional breakdown seriously affects concentration at work. Productivity decreases, neglecting other family relationships and friendships. Feeling isolated. Mechanism: dependency on a relationship for a sense of security and self-worth, codependency. Lack of awareness of an independent personal identity. How to reduce the impact. Encourage building a multi-faceted personal identity. Having hobbies, goals, and other relationships outside of love. Learning to love and accept oneself unconditionally. Next, the emotional storm, which is the overwhelm of emotional pain and poor coping skills. The pain from a breakup, rejection, or conflict can be extremely intense. It is not just simple sadness but can include hurt, anger, shame, regret, and feelings of betrayal. For those who lack skills to cope with strong emotions, or are experiencing mental health problems, depression, anxiety disorders, bipolar disorder, this emotional storm can become overwhelming, making them feel helpless and desperate. Why do poor coping skills lead to dangerous behavior? Because when there is no way to process and regulate intense negative emotions, the person may turn to negative and self-destructive ways to escape the pain. Example: a middle-aged man struggling in his marriage, instead of trying to communicate or seek counseling, sinks into feelings of failure and despair, resorting to alcohol or substance abuse to temporarily forget the pain. Work, family. Relationship stress affecting mood and performance at work. Difficulty interacting with children. Feeling stuck in life. Mechanism: the body's stress response system is heavily activated. Lack of emotional regulation skills. Underlying mental health conditions impair coping ability. How to reduce the impact. Learn stress management and emotional regulation skills, meditation, deep breathing, yoga. Learn about the signs of mental health problems and seek professional evaluation if needed. And also, the distortion of thought, which is negative and distorted thinking about self and the future. In the midst of extreme pain due to love, the mind can fall into a spiral of negative thinking. The person may believe they are unworthy of love, that the future has no meaning, or that death is the only way to end the pain. These thoughts often do not reflect reality but are distortions driven by negative emotions. Why is distorted thinking dangerous? Because it creates a cognitive tunnel, only seeing the negative aspects and overlooking all other solutions or hopes, making the idea of suicide seem rational in their mind. Example: a college student who was broken up with. She thinks, "I am a complete failure. I will never find anyone better. Life from now on will only be gray." Work, family. Negative thoughts about career success. Feeling like a burden to the family. Mechanism: overactivity of brain regions related to negative emotions, amygdala. Reduced function of brain regions related to rational thinking and problem-solving, prefrontal cortex, leading to cognitive distortions. How to reduce the impact. Recognize negative thoughts and challenge them. Practice viewing situations more objectively. Seek support from a mental health professional to learn cognitive restructuring techniques. And also, isolation in pain, which is feelings of isolation and lack of social connection. When experiencing emotional pain, many people tend to isolate themselves, avoiding friends, family, and social activities. This feeling of isolation worsens the pain and despair, as they feel no one understands them or is willing to help. Why does isolation increase risk? Because social connection is an important protective factor against mental health problems and suicidal behavior. When isolated, the person lacks emotional support, opportunities to share pain, and resources for help. Example: a young person after a breakup refuses to meet friends, stops participating in extracurricular activities, spends most of their time alone in their room. Work, family. Not sharing difficulties with colleagues. Avoiding family gatherings. Feeling like they don't belong. Mechanism. Lack of social interaction increases stress hormone levels, weakens the immune system, and reinforces feelings of worthlessness. How to reduce the impact? Actively maintain and strengthen healthy social relationships. Find ways to connect with trusted friends. Join support groups or community activities. Finally, the trap of shared despair, which is the intention to die with one's lover, murder-suicide or suicide pact. This is a more complex case, often involving extreme despair, feeling trapped in a relationship from which there is no escape, whether due to love, dependence, or abuse, or a shared delusion that only death will bring freedom. Why does this intention occur? It can stem from extreme control and manipulation within the relationship. The abuser kills the partner and then commits suicide. Pathological codependency. Both feel they cannot live without each other and agree to seek death together. Or a sudden act during a shared mental health crisis. Example: a young couple facing family prohibition and feeling there is no way out, decide to commit suicide together. Or in an abusive relationship, the abuser kills the partner out of jealousy or a desire for absolute control, then commits suicide. Work, family. Pressure from family making the couple feel unsupported. Financial or work problems increasing tension in the relationship. Mechanism. The interaction of psychological factors, severe depression, personality disorders, feelings of despair, delusions about love, death, social factors, pressure, isolation, and sometimes substance abuse. How to reduce the impact? Recognize the signs of a toxic relationship: control, manipulation, abuse. Seek help from domestic violence support organizations. Encourage seeking individual and couples counseling when a relationship is in serious crisis. Fueling mental strength. Nutrition supporting mood and coping ability. Although nutrition is not a direct solution for suicidal thoughts, a healthy diet supports brain health, mood regulation, and increases energy, all of which contribute to mental resilience and the ability to cope with life's difficulties, including emotional pain. Eating to nourish the heart and mind. Nutrition supporting mental health through emotional storms. Focusing on nutrient-dense foods can support brain function, including memory and concentration to remember and process information. Make wise decisions, help regulate mood, and provide stable energy to cope with stress and seek help when needed. Omega-3 fatty acids support brain health and are linked to mood regulation. although not a cure for depression or suicidal thoughts. Supplementing with omega-3 can support overall mental health. Sources: fatty fish, salmon, sardines, walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds. Mechanism: important component of brain cell membranes. Affects neurotransmitter activity. Has anti-inflammatory properties. B vitamins. Essential for energy production and nervous system function. B vitamin deficiencies can affect mood and energy levels. Sources: whole grains, lean protein, eggs, leafy greens. Mechanism: involved in energy metabolism and neurotransmitter synthesis. Magnesium plays a role in regulating stress and anxiety. Magnesium deficiency can be linked to mood problems. Sources: leafy greens, nuts, seeds, whole grains, beans. Mechanism: involved in over 300 enzyme reactions in the body, including those related to nerve function and relaxation. Complex carbohydrates provide stable energy for the brain, helping to maintain concentration and cognitive function. Important for clear thinking and decision-making. Sources: whole grains, sweet potatoes, beans. Mechanism: provide a stable source of glucose, the brain's primary fuel. Protein provides amino acids that are precursors to neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which affect mood and feelings of happiness. Sources: chicken, fish, beans, lentils, eggs, tofu. Mechanism: provide building blocks for important brain chemicals. Hydration. Dehydration can affect mood, energy levels, and cognitive function. Sources: water, herbal tea. How to incorporate simple nutrition supporting mental health. Ensure you eat balanced, regular meals throughout the day, combining protein, complex carbs, and healthy fats. Increase intake of fruits and vegetables. Drink enough water. Avoid skipping meals or relying excessively on fast food and sweets. Mechanism summary: a healthy diet provides the brain with necessary nutrients for optimal function, supports mood regulation, reduces stress, and increases energy, thereby contributing to mental resilience and the ability to cope with emotional challenges. Simple recipe ideas. Focus on mood support. Oatmeal with berries and nuts for breakfast. Salmon salad with greens for lunch. Lentil soup or baked chicken, fish with sweet potatoes for dinner. Snack on walnuts, almonds, or a piece of fruit. Drink chamomile tea for relaxation. Nutritional advice. Warnings: nutrition is a supportive factor for overall mental health. It is not a treatment for severe mental health conditions or suicidal thoughts. If you or someone you know is having dangerous thoughts, seek professional help immediately. Do not rely on food to cope with intense emotional pain. Consult a doctor or registered dietitian if you have underlying health conditions or concerns about mental health. Before understanding these underlying reasons, perhaps you have felt confused, scared, or even angry when witnessing or hearing about love tragedies leading to death. Felt helpless not knowing how to help those around you who are suffering. Felt worried for yourself or loved ones when facing emotional pain. But as you understand the complexity of the issue, the psychological and biological factors behind it, and most importantly, learn how to recognize warning signs and resources for help, you will feel less confused. Feel better equipped to recognize when to seek help, for yourself or others. Feel more hopeful about the possibility of recovery after pain. Feel like you can be a part of the solution by raising awareness and supporting those around you. An older generation says, "Don't rush to laugh at others. Reflect on yourself thoroughly first before you laugh." Meaning, don't quickly judge someone else's pain. Consider the complexity of human emotion. Our grandparents often taught, "While there's life, there's hope. No matter how difficult things are, try your best to find solutions and never give up hope." There is a proverb that says, "Bitter medicine cures the illness." Difficult conversations about mental health and seeking professional help may not be easy, but they are necessary for healing. Bringing it all together: love, pain, and mental health, understanding to help. Love leading to extreme pain and even suicide or dying together is a complex tragedy. Not a simple result of sadness, but an interaction of psychological factors, when love is the center defining self. Poor coping skills, distorted thinking, feelings of isolation, and sometimes underlying mental health conditions. Especially in the context of modern life in the U.S., where mental health problems are increasing. Understanding these reasons is not to justify the behavior, but so that we can recognize warning signs. Seek help, for ourselves or others, in a timely manner. And build a more mental health supportive society. If you are experiencing intense emotional pain or suicidal thoughts, please do not be alone. Talk to someone you trust, or seek professional help immediately. The U.S. Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is 988. Take care of your mental health just like your physical health. Seeking help when needed is a sign of strength, not weakness. Recognize warning signs in those around you, sudden changes in behavior. Talking about death, despair, self-isolation, and actively reach out to them. Ask about them and encourage them to seek help. If you are in an abusive or toxic relationship where you feel trapped, seek help from domestic violence support organizations. Your safety is paramount. Remember, an older generation says, "After the rain comes the sunshine." No matter how great the pain, there is always hope for recovery and a better future. Dear friends, pain in love is real and can be very intense. But it is not a reason to end one's life. By understanding the complexity of the link between emotional pain and mental health, we can equip ourselves and those around us with better coping skills. Seek help when needed, and together build a community where everyone feels supported and has hope. Don't hesitate to share your thoughts on this sensitive topic in the comments. Or share a way you have healthily coped with emotional pain, or any questions you have about mental health. Our community is here to learn, share, and support each other. And if you found this video important and want to raise awareness about mental health, suicide prevention, and build a more loving and supportive community, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next videos.